the,
I
it says
see
we
the
are
live.
live. You do?
I
On
do.
your Facebook. We are
No, not
awesome.
on Facebook. On here, I see that we're recording.
Right. So I need you to check your Facebook. Family, we're just going to make sure that we are live on Facebook, and we are also live on YouTube.
Yep.
So, yep, you see what exactly?
That we're live.
All right. I just want to go home. Let's see
You see it?
here. I think. Okay. Here we go. Gonna.
To the Black Independent, where we speak truth to power, unapologetically.
For too long, the black vote has been treated like a given, but we're not property. We're not pawns. We are the descendants of those who built this nation. And now, we're demanding tangibles, not tokenism, because the era of blind loyalty is over. This is the Black Independent. Let's get to work.
Hey, Jeanette. Hey, family. Tonight, we're going to be talking about something that's making the rounds in Washington, D.C., among the Democratic Party, among a longtime strategist, James Carville. A memo was.
Wait a minute. We're talking about James Carville tonight, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when you say long time, we're talking about.
He's a long time. Donna Brazile, I remember all those people when I was living in.
Exactly. So that's a real long time ago because he was a strategist for Bill Clinton's campaigns.
Absolutely. And so was Donna Brazile. I think I met her in 88.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you mean way back when?
Way back when. And I used to, now I don't know about you, but I used to like both of these individuals.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think they were good for the party at that time. So what are we talking about tonight?
So we're talking about, I'm going to call it a word salad. So he put out a list of 45 words that they don't want the Democratic establishment to use anymore. And these words are like privilege, cisgender, and we're going to get into that, Latinx, and food insecurity. But my question is, does that really change anything for us as Black folks? Does a new phrase put food on our table, improve our schools, and keep our children safe, or even East Tampa? And I'm having an issue with these words because some of these words, I do agree. During the last election, a lot of new phrases I didn't particularly like, but it's no different than Donald Trump, who I believe put out a list of woke words that he was forbidding, woke words that was offending them. And now these are phrases and words that are offending, I would say, probably moderate white Democrats.
So I think you're absolutely right. Should that be our focus right now? And I think that if we're focusing on words, what are we leaving on the table? What's the reality for Black people? Should we be worried about language, or should we be worried about what's going on in our communities and how we can make sure that the people get results? And I'm not sure this is a focus we need to pay attention to. My guess is they kind of feel like these words repel people or kind of make people uncomfortable and
trigger words.
Yeah, I think that might be what it is, but I think we might be spending too much time on the wrong thing. That's my opinion.
Yeah, because when we really look at it, and when I saw this maybe about a week or two ago. Then I saw
Mhm.
a video on it, and I was like, I have had some issues with a few of the words,
Mhm.
but not so much so that I would send out a memo to all the political parties, all
Yeah,
of the Democrats in
right.
positions, and say, "Hey guys, you got to stop using these words because we're." I guess maybe they did a survey after the election, and some of these words was offensive to a certain group of people. But I'm certainly it wasn't enough offenses that black people experienced that they put out this word. But check this
Very
out:
okay.
the memo had they broke it down into therapy, speak, seminar, room talk, organized jargon, gender correctness, and I was on that one, racial construction, and ways to explain away crime. Now, in my opinion, that sounds more like likable, but listen, it ain't substance. And that's what we've been liking. We've been liking substance, and we could look back, and I'm not going to even say the whole 60 years, and I'm 60, so, but I'm going to say the whole 40 years I've been voting, trying to polish the surface instead of and fixing the foundation of what our issues are. We've
Yeah.
been working on other people's issues. We've been working on the party issue, but the party has not, in my opinion, not really been working on our issues.
Well, I think they've felt that they are working on our issues, but the problem with that is when they claim to be working on our issues, it was so watered down
Hmm.
that our issues had to also take care of other people and other groups as well. There was never anything specific to us to make us better. It
Right.
was to make everybody better. And we are supposed to be and have been, I think, kind of going along with that. And I think we're at a point right now where this homogenized way of dealing with Black issues, systemic Black issues, has to come to a stop. But the only way to do that is for us to stop going along with all of their antics, like the word salad, as you call it, and begin demanding and being very specific about what it is that we need. But, I think here's where it gets real dangerous with this whole word salad thing. When politicians start censoring their own language, it's not about respecting communities or Black communities or any other community. It's
Sure.
more about rebranding. It's
Sure.
as if that's the focus right now. How do we rebrand the Democratic Party so that it is more relatable or likable to a larger swath of people?
Sure.
I just heard in the news that and I don't even have a source for this, but I know that I left the Democrat Party recently, but I hear that others are leaving the party as well. Well, that was the same story with the Republicans. They were leaving everybody was going into the independent group.
Yeah.
Um, I think though that the rebranding that they are trying to do doesn't feel well, it feels disingenuous.
Very. And look, we could rebrand, we could rewrap, but I think the people are smarter, particularly our younger
I,
generation,
I love that. Yes.
and we need substance. We got I rewrap gifts all the time, right? But the gift is still the gift. It's a pretty,
You can make it all nice and pretty, but
it's a
if
pretty
it's the
new box.
dud of a gift, it is a
I
dud of
put a new bow on it, and then when we open it and we look at the details and we look at the writing, ain't nothing changing for us.
I
And,
know,
and
but you know that we play this game every year in my family. It's a Chinese gift exchange. I'm not
mm,
even sure why we call it the Chinese gift exchange, but I think that's what it's generally called. and you get these gifts under the tree that are in these beautiful bags with all the tissue paper and whatever else that looks so beautiful, and then you choose that one and you end up with
The worst one.
or something you don't want or something nobody wants.
Yeah, it's the worst
That's
one.
what we're talking about here. That's
Yeah,
what we're talking about here.
yeah.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that is what has happened. I would say to our race, and then when they do make policies that really, when they design it and when they write it, it is for America. Now, if it trickles down and something happens to we can attach to, okay, but it's not particularly for us. And
That's
we
correct.
have our issues as in anybody else. I mean,
Right.
I'm sure every group have their issues, but every group seems to be issues are getting acknowledged and fixed, with the exception, I believe, of ours.
Yeah, and I think that's really true. And if you look at Obamacare or ACA, and yes, they are the same thing,
Mhm.
but if you look at that, had they gone a step further to say, and for African Americans,
Yes,
here's what they get even more so.
yes,
And here
yes.
are the free benefits for them to take care of these issues that have been systemic. But we
Systemic.
don't do any of that. We don't have a champion in government that looks at I'm going to say the whitewashing, but it's like they just simplify everything so much so to say, look, we're doing this for you black folks. When people says, well, we didn't get anything under the Obama administration,
Mhm.
um, and they come back with, well, you got health care and you got this and you got that. They gave it to
But
America and did not necessarily address the
right,
black issues that we are actually saying that they should address. And I think that's what we have to be more clear on. We're
yes.
not clear on that,
And it's so
that
funny
that's
because
not enough.
most Democrats, I actually was having this conversation with my brother.
Mhm.
I think it was Sunday, and we were talking because I'm trying to convince him, to move, and that's going to be a hard sell, right? And he says, "So Mona, you have to be honest when you say we didn't get anything from Obama." I say we, as a race of people, he was our first black president. Of course, we should have got some of our particular issues um, addressed that we needed, because we can't go in here and then we'll say, oh, well, Trump isn't going to do it for you. Biden didn't do it for you. Well, goddamn, you
Mhm.
didn't hold Obama accountable for doing it either. So he always go refer back to the healthcare, because I do use it. And I said, but that wasn't for us. That was for everyone.
Right.
And it
And
just so happened we're able, but I know a lot of black people when it first came out, it was too expensive.
it really was.
Yeah, when
That's
it first came out, it was really good because I used it for maybe 2 or 3 years, and
true.
then it got really ridiculous, and I was in great health. And when it wasn't forced on us that we had to have it, I discontinued it.
Yeah.
And then I turned 60 and I decided I better get it back. But it is. But look, the Democrat has gotten really comfortable with symbolism. They give us what words like um, equality, allyship, safe space. But do we have jobs? Where's the housing? We are getting priced out of our own neighborhoods.
Mhm.
Safety in our neighborhood. And when I say safety in our neighborhood, I don't mean um, extra policing or 24-hour
Mhm.
policing
So,
or
Printel, what do you
over,
mean?
over
Because
policing. Safety would mean, our neighborhoods are thriving, crime free neighborhoods,
Mhm.
safe because businesses are opening. Young people are thriving. They got
Mhm.
opportunities. They can afford to live there. Most
Mhm.
of the young people I know, they're pushing them out um, past Opala Beach, way, down to Wamama.
Right.
It's hard for them to get back in the city. And safety where families who grew up in East Tampa, who want to stay in East Tampa, can build and have stability.
Yeah.
That's the kind of safety that cannot come from this word salad, slogans. We need real action in our community. And
So,
we need real fighters. And we need real fighters. And what I can say, and I'm a bring it into this election we're in, because even the special election,
mhm.
if we don't get this right, we're gonna have just what we have now. Just what
And
we have now. If you look at West Tampa, and it looks good on Main Street. I've been over there the last couple of weeks, and
yeah,
I really do like what's going on over there. But outside of that, most of the people have left. Most of the black people have left. I mean, and they're not trying to bring them back.
right. They're not trying to bring them back. They don't really want them to
They
come
can
back.
afford it.
Yeah, they don't really want to. And it is going to be very hard to afford property or real estate or to run a business on Main Street. Main Street is about to totally take a different change. But, as the Democrats go for this rebranding, as and I think you so eloquently put it, you got the Republicans out there not just banning words, but they're banning books, they're banning discussions of race. And I don't know if you heard about it, but they are now pressuring tech companies. And this is just something that I just heard the other day, to ban certain words online.
Wow.
So TikTok, I understand, as it sort of gets its footing in the United States. I think somebody bought it and whatever else, and the administration has pretty much said words like Gaza, words like Epstein, words like whatever. So they're getting these lists of words that they will be policing online. So it's getting pretty bad, and the Democrats are sort of they're doing it from a we need to rebrand ourselves so more people will like us, and
Well,
the Republicans are saying we need to ban these words because we don't want anybody talking bad about us or whatever else. And so we, the voters, are kind of caught in the middle. So you got these two parties that are pretty much operating in a very self-serving way that does not serve the average voter, the citizen, who is not paying attention on so many levels. And I'm hoping, to the viewers out there, that you are thinking more about what your needs are and finding avenues where you can get those needs met. And as Mona and I have said, we don't necessarily think, because we've had, I don't know how many years of being loyal to one party, and going to the other party does not seem to be the answer either. So we got to make a decision, because this is crazy.
we got to break a loose. And and it and when we say that, what, over 60 years, the supermajority African Americans been in one party, and we're where we at now. For the most part, we probably still will be voting with the Democratic Party, or like you like to say, caucusing with the Democratic Party. But we just now have to caucus behind the right person, and they have to understand, here's what we want, and we could do that more or less right now local. I believe if we get behind one candidate, or I don't care if say it's 4 or 5, here's what we want, here's what we're gonna need you to do. We'll get behind you as black independent.
Yeah.
That's and demand real power. If you think about, we was just in a meeting. I think it was Tuesday,
Mhm.
with the one of the county commissions because Progress Village, which is a historic black neighborhood, you're familiar with,
Yep.
and these people has been catching hell on top of hell.
Right.
And their commissioner, I don't know really what's going on. I don't know the bike story to it, but all I know, they're not getting relief. And I was talking to I was talking to the president of
Mhm.
Progress Village, and I said, "Hey, why don't you meet with Commissioner Josh and see what can be done? Because these people need, we know we need long term solution, but we need something right now as well.
Right.
It is no way anywhere in this city that what is going over there that will be allowed to happen anywhere outside of a black neighborhood.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't be
It's
allowed.
true. It's
And
true.
so the commissioner decided, hey, I'm going to send some generators down there to help alleviate the flooding. Now,
Right.
and so the flooding that apparently was getting worse. And he says, well, now I'll send another pump down there to pump it out to help solve. And that's what we want until you find the total solution.
Mhm.
But should I be suffering? Should our seniors, because the majority of that neighborhood is mostly seniors, and should they suffer?
Wow.
I have
Yeah.
family over there. I hear the complaints all the time, every time
Yeah.
it runs, and
Yeah.
I can hear the disappointment. I can hear the lack of hope.
Yeah. My cousin, he lives on 83rd,
Hmm.
um, and my aunt, he likes to get his cell phone as soon as it
Oh, is
rains.
that your cousin who does that? Yeah.
He gets his cell phone and he's walking and talking, and he has such a big mouth,
Hmm.
and that's shout out to Sean. You know that's how the family sees you. It's good because he is being heard,
Yes.
um, because he's relentless and will not stop until they fix what they need to fix. So I love what he does. I love what Twanda's doing, and I think those who will get out there to those commissioners, whether it's District 5 or District, I'm not sure what District Josh is too, maybe.
He's at large, so that
Right.
is his
I'm
district.
just curious what is yeah, so he's at large. They
So he
need to get out
represents
there and get in their
all of
right.
the
He
Hillsborough County.
needs they need to get out there and stay persistent, and I think those
Absolutely.
2 in particular are the right folks for that.
And sometimes at large um, commissioners or city council um, feel a little something as if they don't want to step on someone else's toes.
I
And
hear that a lot. Yeah.
yeah, and I was like, no, it's your district too. These people vote for you. You're not a
Right.
senior district. You are our representative. And if you don't help her do whatever she needs to get done, we're going to hold you accountable as well. So yes, you need to step out front. And not only you, um, it's three of them: Chris
Mhm.
Bowl, and I don't know the third at large person, but they all got to come together and
Yeah.
solve that problem and
Yeah.
solve every problem we have. I mean, I want some more, I want money to come back into those neighborhoods as well.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, their budget, and I don't know the budget, but it's something ridiculous.
Right.
Something
Right.
ridiculous. And investment, and not only infrastructure, that infrastructure is something that they're supposed to have. They expect that's what you pay your taxes for.
Mhm.
Now, I want investments to come back into their parks, their roads inside, even that, even your parks and your roads.
Well,
That is just stuff we're supposed to have,
yeah,
and
investments
we ain't even getting that.
I
So
know
I
they've
want
had
to know what the commissioners are doing.
yeah, I know they've had some upgrades on their parks and their recreational or their gathering halls and that type thing,
No, they
but,
haven't.
um,
They
yeah,
built the they
they even
built
have
the
I'm sorry, go ahead.
they built the new one, but they haven't had any on the center inside of Progress Village.
Hmm.
They did build new ones,
That's
but
true because my like I said, my aunt lives there, and we go. She usually invites the rest of us to a Christmas party they hold there every single year.
mhm,
And the center is so funny, but that rec center looks just like the rec center when I used to live there 30, 40 years
absolutely.
ago. It's
And
like I
and
lived
so
there 40 years ago, and
and so yeah, is
I
that
used
crazy? So
yeah, I used to exercise in that building when I got out of college, and it looks exactly the same.
exactly the same. My grandmother used to live out there. I have two
Mhm.
nieces that live out there. We have to have a house out there. It's crazy, and this is what I'm talking about. Our representative don't see that. Do, do we have to give up that to be able to get the other thing across the street? Because the new building is the one that's across the street. Got
Yes.
pickleball, and
Yep.
everybody think. And she got to know. There's a few of us like that. I think that's a phase like racquetball. It's going to go out. But in Progress Village Center, I believe the basketball courts needs to be redone. That whole place needs to be redone.
Yeah. I agree with that. Again,
It's
I go
not
there
torn
every year.
down.
Mhm.
A facelift of something. They need to have more space, make it larger for them to have their meetings, have whatever they need to do for Progress Village.
Yeah, I think, and I said this about East Tampa, I'm going to say the same thing about it for Progress Village. They absolutely need to upgrade the center, just as you suggest.
Absolutely.
The center then needs to have um, computers. They need to have AI
Yes.
capacity for the children coming in, learning gaming, um,
Yes.
how to use AI, just how to operate with it, because the future will be that AI will take a lot of those lower level jobs,
Yeah.
and the key will be how well you're able to take all of those AI apps and make things happen. You've got to be a thinker. And if we don't start exercising the brain muscle of our children, we will be lost. And I think that's exactly where this administration wants us to be out there in the fields. But let's talk about it, what that means as well, because you're going to have AI also picking cotton. I'm sorry, I just had to say that. But we need to
Strawberries.
people, we need to be able to understand where technology is going. And when we're building and improving our Black neighborhoods, we need to make sure that the capacity for developing our own children after school, there's the school and then there's after school. If I
Sure.
can have my child go to the center and begin learning how to
Sure.
develop, to create, whatever, that's what we need to be doing. And I don't think we're thinking about that. But, you know, um,
And we can't think about that. And I don't want to say put an age, but I see Dave Coleman said the county budget is $12 billion.
mhm.
$12 billion. And I want, and I don't follow it. Dave really do, and I keep up with them. And basically, he's always keeping up. I used to say, "Well, God damn, do you really just hate Gwen?" He was always just calling her out, but I can almost see why. Um, I'm going to start following the county. I've already said that I'm going to support Quentin Robinson. Um, as of now, no one else has decided to get into this race, but $12 billion. I want to know, how did any of that money she get to invest back into Progress Village, Sulphur Springs, wherever her district is? How did any of that money come back into that? I do know that each commissioner, sometimes they get, I don't know what you call it, but they get $1 million to give to,
Mhm.
um, up,
Discretionary.
yeah, up to 1 million. Sometimes it's not 1 million, sometimes it's a little less.
Mhm.
And I really want to see basically who gets that money and why.
Yeah. So,
How do you feel about that?
well,
And
I
if
don't,
our and our at large people, commissioners at large, are they investing back in our districts as well? Are they distributing their money into, let's say, all four districts?
yeah,
That
I think
really have to look into that. It is just a lot to keep up with.
I think it's the onus is on us,
It's
and I
so
know it's on us and our ability to come together as a powerful voting bloc
yes.
that pretty much says, and here are the five things that we want, right? And if we're not getting these five things, um, then we're pulling our votes. And if in fact, let's say if District 5 seat is Gwen or Quentin, we say to them, we are behind you 100%. I don't care what they say about you. We are behind you 100%. But when you go to that negotiating table in those back rooms or however you guys do it, because I know they can't talk to each other, but
Mhm.
the other seats, the at-large seats, need to know that we are behind you 100% to speak up for us on these issues, right?
Mhm.
They need to know that if you say vote left rather than right, we're
Mhm.
going to go left as you say, so that they understand that this large block of voters will be kept from them if they cannot come together with you on the issues that are important. Right now, she does not have that kind of power. None of them have that kind of power. And Black people, there's a reason why we have one seat,
Right.
because they understand the splintered nature of the Black population, not just here, everywhere, and that we are limited in the seats that we sit in because we can't come together. And if we come together behind one person, in this case, we can sort of negate the fact that they're by themselves, because now they are backed 100% by a voting bloc that probably isn't just Black, it'll be other folks as well. But we have to make that happen. And I think that's what the problem is. The problem is they know that we're not going to stay behind, stick with her 100%. And she knows that too. So she does her own thing.
I don't
Like,
know. I don't
like
know.
the museum, for example.
Yeah, that's so crazy. I just learned about. I really, because I don't really follow the county. I just happen to see it um, come up on
Well,
my
my
phone.
point is she does her own thing. Shake
Everybody.
does his own thing. And Councilman, God rest her soul, Henderson did her own thing. And unless we can figure out in this new seat for the council person to understand that we're going to get, when the runoff happens, because inevitably they will be in a runoff, one of those two seats need to get our votes, all of our votes.
Yes.
We need to decide which one, and then 100% vote for them, put them in the seat, and then say, you've got our loyalty. But here's what's important to us. We need this in East Tampa. We need this in Silver Springs. We need blah, 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 whatever that is.
Right.
And
Right.
then we stick with it. We
Sure.
stay with it.
Sure.
That's our example before we get into the midterms and into the next election. We need to practice our muscle here locally.
So,
That's what I think.
what do you think about that museum? I probably wouldn't have an issue with that if our communities was up to par and that we had everything
Ooh,
we needed. And then
that's
yes,
interesting.
and yes, then we could get some of our wants. But
Mhm.
with the community looking the way it's looking, and I'm not quite sure how big. I don't know if the article went into detail, but I know it was supposed to be 50,000 square feet. That's huge. It's about the size of I don't know if it was about the size of Fair Oaks. But I was saying to myself, why don't we have a place,
I'm just looking while you're talking, but go ahead.
okay, a place like where we can have weddings, when the NAACP have their banquets, TOBA have their things, where a place where we can make money. But a museum, what are we gonna do? A whole museum? It got to be something else. 50,000 square feet is huge. So what's all gonna be in this museum?
Museum
And it's
things.
gonna be in West Tampa, and I think it's they just want it on the Riverwalk. But I thought we had an African museum somewhere downtown.
Yeah, it's to inspire future generations by showcasing the region's Black heritage. Um, you know,
Look,
I
we
the
could do
point that
that. We could do
you're
that
making
at the Jackson House.
I love the idea that you have about the Jackson House. So put a pin in that, and you can we can explore that. But I think that um, we oh I don't know. I think you make a good point about we got other things that we need rather than something that we want, and it gets into sort of Maslow's hierarchy where you got to meet your basic needs first.
Right,
And, you know, I got to just meet my basic needs first. I got to eat. I got to, I got to have somewhere to sleep and whatever else. I'm not worried about those higher needs. And it seems that the museum might be a higher need for such a time as this.
right.
And maybe it's not appropriate right now with Sulphur Springs looking the way that it looks,
Yes.
with Progress Village in the shape that it's in, and with East Tampa the way that it looks. How do we get our politicians to focus on today what the problem is? And I tie everything back to the school grades.
Yeah. Yeah.
When the kids are coming 100% out of our neighborhoods, the grades are CDF, which reflects the neighborhoods where they're coming from.
And I wasn't quite on board with that, but I've been using that phrase because it resonates, and it is so true. The people have no pride in the neighborhood. I think once we fix, because even when I go on Main Street now, and just the one side, because the other side is still a mess, but that one side, and they got this co-op building office space down there. It's very
Mhm.
small, but it's gorgeous. Have you been in there?
I haven't. I've been on Main Street because I've gone to, I think it's 20 venue 2106 a
Yeah.
couple weeks
So
ago.
that a little to its left, they have
Mhm.
workspace, office space.
Like,
Um,
is it co-working space?
mhm, mhm,
Okay,
very,
that's really
very,
cool.
oh yeah, very nice. Keela
I'm always
has
looking
an
forward.
office there, I believe, and I was there last Saturday,
Oh,
and
Tila's not downtown anymore. She's on Main.
yeah, and I don't know if it's hers. We was just working out of
That's
that
cool.
space for the
Yeah, that's cool.
campaign. Guess what? Kathy Castor has an office in there too.
Interesting.
Yeah, I say that she probably because I know her office was always in West Ham, but she probably put it in that space. She might even help got that place build the bill out. But
Mhm.
she's up for election, so that could be a reason why she's there. I'm not sure, but she's there. But it's a very nice space. Something like that we need, of course.
Yeah.
In
I think
Sulphur Springs, we need it in East Tampa, we need it in Progress Village. Until we get all of this stuff that people need to make their lives and to make their neighborhood where the people that live in there proud to be there, proud to call it home. And we're gonna spend I don't know, something up to 40 million for a museum. I don't know.
well, that's certainly something that we should be talking about. If we're not talking about it, it just happens, and all of a sudden we have a museum and flooded streets in Progress Village.
And you ask yourself this, How did we get a museum from the time she came in office? Almost probably less than what, four? I know she did 4 terms.
It's been a while.
So 6 terms. But we still have these people coming down to the city council begging to get the Jackson House fixed.
Yeah.
It just sounds so ridiculous. I hate to see them come down there and you can't get nothing passed. And this, I remember when I first started hearing about the Jackson houses, when the guy that was over, he's now since died. I think it was his family. Can't
Mhm.
remember his name. But my daughter was in middle school.
It was practically falling down. I think they've done
Yeah.
something to reinforce it, but it's looking pretty bad. I am with a group called Get Your Ships Together. They are doing That's their annual fundraiser at their convention.
And here's
I'm
another
sure.
thing.
Hmm.
Here's another thing with these people. You trying to tell me by now, from the time that happened, and I'm going to say that stuff was happening probably in 2010 when I first learned about it, that these sororities, fraternities, people from
Mm.
FAM couldn't have raised the necessary money, at least to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, that's part of what I think people on the outside of the Black community look at to kind of determine if you're not prioritizing it, why should we? Yeah.
Right. But
So yeah.
how are they getting the money to do a museum? Where's that money coming from?
Interesting point.
Because she's pushing for the museum. Nobody really was pushing. Um, Really, that was under Orlando Goose. I don't know if he was still in there. Who probably Frank Redding when my daughter was in middle school.
Hmm.
He should have really been, because that's in the city and got some of the county money as well. But he should have been pushing to get the funding done for the Jackson House if that's something they wanted.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how, even under Bob Buckhorn, come on, that because he was the mayor at the time,
Yeah.
but yet still, all these black people will go and vote for this man again. He come to our churches. One little thing they wanted, and he couldn't do it. I don't,
Yeah.
I
I
don't,
think
I don't
I,
understand that.
I think to your point, in terms of the symbolism,
Hmm.
um, there are gestures made our way to keep us quiet. And if they have to throw 40 million at it at some point because we're you sort of we may eventually get some portion of that, but we never quite get what we need to improve the lives of the people. And bottom line for me is reparations, because then we could figure it out and take care of ourselves. But they don't want that. They don't want that to happen.
Of course, they don't want it to happen. Hell, we didn't want slavery to happen either, but it did. And um, and look, it's going to happen. It has to be addressed, and it has to be corrected. And I would say the sooner it happens, we don't have to keep talking about this generation after generation, because it will continue, because it's not going to go away.
That is true. It is not going to go away.
It's
So
not going to go away. So the sooner they admit and correct it, then we probably can all move forward into an America that we could all thrive. Because I'm sure that it has to be as stressful for them as it is for us.
yeah, I think it is. But bottom line is, if the symbolism without investment is just noise.
Yeah.
We have politicians now, James Carville, that keep trying to change the packaging so that they can fool us into believing whatever.
Right.
But the product really hasn't improved if you really look at it.
Right.
So
Right.
we don't need new names for the same failures. We need accountability and transformation. And I think that's why Black independence a movement for Black independence is the way to go. Um, and I'm hoping that more people kind of see that. So it's why we're talking about it. Both parties are playing word games right now, and
Absolutely.
we need to be smart enough to see that. But neither one has, over the last 60 years, delivered transformation for the Black community. Now, I will say the Republicans over the last 60 years have been working behind the scenes, and they're about to transform the country if we don't wake up. But waking up doesn't necessarily mean we're waking up in the Democratic Party. It means that we are waking up outside of the Democratic Party, but talking to the Democratic Party to say, we will work with you, but we can no longer work under you. And I think that that's the difference. And especially the Democratic Party here in Tampa.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hear lots of people complaining about that.
Look, have we had, and I'm just going to focus on city council because that's really what I've been following. Have
Mm.
our single district have they had any real power?
No,
Mm-mm. And the evidence is our neighborhoods.
the evidence is the neighborhoods.
The evidence is our neighborhoods. I mean, we're not keeping even stuff that we pay for. The parks aren't capped up. We're not even asking for anything extra. We're just asking for stuff that automatically supposed to get taken care of and cap up. So
Yeah,
maybe you should be on a cycle every 4 or 5 years. But I can tell you the last time that William Park, or even when Fair Oaks finally got done, I
mhm.
remember Yvette Lewis saying that Fair Oaks looked the same as when she was a little girl going to Fair Oaks.
I
I didn't
used to, I
I didn't
worked,
go to Fair Oaks that much because we went a little bit. My brother played football there. You know,
yeah,
we had Williams Park, and I can remember from even my daughter was little and she was at my mom. We would go to Williams Park, and I remember calling and saying, "Look, it's ants out here. How can we enjoy it? I want to be able to enjoy it." Now,
yeah,
anytime you call, they will come out, do something, put something down to kill the ants. The mulch sometimes needed to be replaced, but I had to call for those things.
yeah.
And if nobody called for it, and even the leaders inside of, I would say, Northview Hills, I don't understand why they didn't do it. We have Mr. Kinsey who used to walk the whole neighborhood. You could see the stuff. I just don't understand it.
You don't understand it. I think you do understand it. I think we do understand it. We just have to do something about it.
We got to do
Um,
something about it because we say stuff like we don't want to bother him with such small stuff.
yeah,
Well,
I
where's
think we,
our goddamn money going? Where's our money going? Where's our money going? I want this neighborhood to look, at least the park, the green spaces, to look nice.
I think eventually it will look nice, because I see again it's being gentrified, and the more
And
gentrified
so,
it becomes, you're
and
going to
that's
start
what's going to
seeing
make me
improvement.
mad. It's not going to look nice until then.
I do believe that is the case until you Black people start coming together and demanding development with the
Yes,
people that are already there.
yes,
At Sulphur Springs. And the unfortunate thing is that so many of the homes are being bought up by investment companies and what have you,
yes,
and being rented out to our people. But um, that's a problem that absolutely needs to be solved, and develop with the people that are there, develop the people that are there.
yes.
And I would love to see us focus on, with our representatives in these various offices, that we truly look at how we can develop those people and the neighborhoods without all of that gentrification. If others want to move in, that's fine, but don't move us out to move in.
Right, right.
And,
Or, or price us out, because that's the issue. It's really pricing. People want
Mhm.
homes they can't afford the urban core anymore, so they have to move so far out.
Yeah, a lot of us are really a lot of our young people in particular are moving out, but even when their parents pass away, they're selling the homes. It's
Yeah,
like, it's just,
we got. I was talking to Keela, I think, and we definitely got to do workshops and help them see what investment they have in that property and keeping it, and maybe the house is paid for, so hey, go to the bank and get a loan for 50, $100,000 and fix that house up to your likings, bring it up to today's standards.
yeah,
And what you're going to be paying less than $400, $500 a month on something like that, and
yeah.
versus going out here paying still something ridiculous, because I don't know why we can't see the value of what we have, because everybody is trying to get back into the city.
I know this is probably going to be going to kind of fall off the cliff in within the next year, but
Mm-hmm.
the whole thing about reparations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, if we don't stop the Heritage Foundation,
Mm-hmm.
um, and where they are taking the country, reparations is no longer a conversation. It just isn't. Um, well, give me your thoughts on that, because I truly believe that I don't see how it becomes a conversation for any of our FBA, ADOS, what have you. It somewhat shuts it down altogether.
So you're saying if we don't stop the Heritage Foundation, and you said, so we're not going to stop them. What you are you talking about? Having Republicans in as the president?
I guess I am saying that. I guess I am saying that. What I'm saying, if we don't save democracy, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat, but if we don't save what we are calling democracy at this point, to improve upon that, because we are more in control, Black
Mm-hmm.
people are professional, what have you, because you notice they are um, terminating all of the Black professionals in key positions.
Sure,
There's a method to the madness,
sure.
and they are turning back all of the civil rights legislation. So how are you going to tell me reparations is even going to ever get on the table when you're not even going to have Title I schools to give extra dollars to the school where the majority of your kids are? So what I'm saying is, if we don't figure out how to make a move away from a party who is not prioritizing what you believe your issues are, Black people, then, and I'm really speaking to African Americans, if you do not see this moment as an opportunity to fight back,
Right.
then you don't even need to be thinking about repair, because you are going to be relegated over time, because you will not be able to get loans for school. And if you do, you're going to have to go to a bank, and the interest rates and all of those other things gone. That's gone. So your kids are less likely to go to college if that's what you want. They're less likely to have the big high paying jobs. You're going to see that over the next 10, 20 years if we don't figure out how to stop this trajectory um, of making us permanent second class citizens. They're getting
Yeah.
rid of the brown people. They may not be able to get rid of the Black folks, but they can certainly take you back to 1920, whatever.
Absolutely. So my question would be, do you think the Democratic Party saw any of this coming?
Um, I, you mean white people or just?
Yeah, white people.
Yeah, I think
Democratic who really run the party, like Nancy Pelosi and all of these people, Biden, all of these people who's up in the top part
yeah,
of not the people, the politicians, but the people who
yeah,
really run the Democratic Party.
yeah.
Do
I
you
can't.
think did they not hear any of this coming?
I think they saw some, but they didn't take it seriously enough, because even with the Voting Rights Act and in the last 10, maybe 15 years, they've been slowly just cutting things back. And the Supreme Court, you know, Ginsburg holding on to that position when she knew she was dying.
Sure.
All of these things we were not doing strategically, while the Republicans were moving their Supreme Court justices out to say, you're too old, we're going to replace you with somebody in their 30s or 40s.
Exactly.
They
Yeah.
saw this and yet did not change strategy at all. We were way too comfortable in the Democratic Party. And I think that because we were not a homogenized group, Republicans are mainly white. I'm going to discount everybody else because they follow a very white agenda, a white supremacist agenda. But in the Democratic Party, it was much more difficult, because now you've got to satisfy the African Americans, and now you've got the Asians, and you've got everybody has their own agendas as to how we should move forward. And I think that they didn't want to offend people. Right? Because they needed all of us to. So it was a much harder road to hoe than they had, because all they had to do was say white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy. And they cloaked it in, small government and, all keep more of your money and so on and so forth. And that was attractive on this side, because that's why even some of our Black people, when they think they got a little money, they go over here and they ignore the fact that all of the racial stuff, they just ignore that.
Sure. So I'm gonna give you two examples that it just came to me as you was talking about symbolism and why even our Black leaders, we particularly have to show them as well, because it just came to mind. I was thinking under the George Floyd, when he got killed, and I don't know where the Black Caucus was, and I think they could have been in the chamber somewhere.
Lord, if I hear about these kente cloths one more time, go ahead.
Oh my God. When they came out there, and this woman had this thing on, and they know I'm like, how can we be so stupid? That made them feel good. That made them feel like they were behind us. And then
I know
the white woman kneeled down. She kneeled, and then they all kneel. And it just did something to my skin.
I know, but we
have damn thing going to get done about this. Why are we so? And then they just didn't push the man to do anything.
But we didn't speak up. We being our representatives that are Black, they didn't speak up for it. They didn't know. So it's you're right on the symbolism piece. We spend too much time trying to placate and demonstrate something when all we're looking for is results. But the issue
are we looking for results? That's what we have to get to the bottom of, and we're going to have to really peel back.
But we don't agree on what those results need to be.
Okay.
As a Black people,
you're right.
We do not agree on. So So we've got on this side the Democrats trying to guess, well, what is important? And then they choose our leaders for us,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
They choose our leaders.
Yes.
Even wait, even when we're voting for them, they pretty much have pre-selected them, right?
Yes.
And so anytime, and let's go back local. Anytime the Tampa Times chooses who's going to be in District 5 or
Yes.
District 3 or whatever those seats are, you know that the white man has now chosen your next leader
Absolutely.
for that to represent you, not you.
Absolutely.
They have chosen them. And that's what we need to be aware of. It's like, am I
And we keep
too,
falling for it. We keep falling for it. We keep falling for the okie doke.
because we don't have an agenda. We don't have those 5 or 6 things that are just deal breakers for us.
But
And you're
by
right.
now,
Right, huh?
by now, we know what haven't happened. We know what haven't happened. You're on mute.
I am.
You're not now. Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. All right. So we just have to come together, and I keep saying that. And in my opinion, coming together doesn't mean that we are wholly adopting the Democratic platform, but we are influencing the platform in a way that's powerful, because now they can't take your vote for granted. They
Right.
have to now listen to you because you are on the side. And for me, and this is to the viewers, can it really get any worse? Yes, it's going to get
Oh, it's going
worse.
to get worse. Yes.
Right. It is going to get worse, but the people in power are planning what that is for you, right? You will not be able to influence the Heritage Foundation, who's been planning this for over 60 years now. You can influence the Democrat Party, but you will not be able to influence the Heritage Foundation. And I'm not even saying Trump. Trump is on his way out, and JD Vance is getting ready to replace him right now. And the person and the 2 people who paid to get JD Vance, who is ill qualified, should not have been in that position, but they paid millions to buy that position, was Elon Musk and Peter Thiel, who are
Yeah.
both South African billionaires, right? South African white billionaires who now are tech bros, who already have all of our data, but now they will have the presidency, and they don't have to be the face. They just have to be the ones, because JD Vance does not know anything about running this country.
He's about as worse as Trump. Look, we have a
Things are going to get worse.
yeah, we have an interesting comment from one of our viewers.
Oh,
Um,
awesome.
yeah, a good friend of mine. We went to church together, Natalie,
Mhm.
and I totally agree. And we got to figure out a way how, even in our local um, elections,
Right.
she says the only agenda that seems to matter are the dollars received from the lobbyists and the billionaires that want their agendas up front. And that is the truth. And Jeanette, you know, you
Spot
and I
on.
peel this back with APAC and all of this. It is really even not the president who's pushing this stuff. It's these big corporations, these billionaires, and APAC. They're
Yeah.
setting the laws.
Yep.
And if the people could just understand that,
That's right.
and we get together and push back. Even
That,
I'm going to tie that in because we got a local election going.
yep.
And Tom Scott, I'm just going to say him, Reverend Scott, he has gotten all the money, all of the endorsements, which we have to be able to ask ourselves why. How are the people who want to push Tampa forward would want to get someone who's been out of office for now, what, maybe over 8 years, if plus years,
Mhm.
73 years old, and we have 14 people in this race. when you have someone like Allison here, I'm going to go with it, who knows the agenda, knows the policy, has worked in government, is more than qualified, but they don't want her. Because that is telling me that they want District 5, and not all of District 5, because you got China Side, Ybor City, and some of those areas, even Seminole Heights and all, doing well, thriving. West Tampa, but Cepha Springs, East Tampa, still at a standstill. Why would the mayor care? And I don't know if it's the mayor behind it, but whoever's behind all of this, pushing this agenda, we have to ask ourselves, community, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Get your own candidate. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Figure
And,
out
and
what
next week, I'm sure next week we'll be hitting in your mailbox all kind of dirty political ads will be coming out. And
right.
he's not paying for it. He ain't got the money. It's different organizations. It's the builders.
Yeah.
It could be the mayor or the future mayor that's doing this.
That's how politics works.
Yeah,
And
unfortunately, and we gotta be smart about this.
And you have said we're not as mature when it comes to politics. And I think that we will likely lose out here, as we do so often, until we stand on our own 2 feet and become independent and understand what our own issues are right here. I think that we then can beat the money, the lobbyist. What the viewer just said, there's no way that we're going to be able to do it because they have so much money. But what we have, if we come together, is we have the votes, which the money is aimed at trying to get. But if we decide we're not going to listen to the commercials and we're not going to pay attention to those ads and that come into your mailbox, and we're, if we can, that's how we beat the money. We beat the money by saying, I don't care what you say. This is what MAGA says for Trump. I don't care what you say about Trump. I'm going to vote for him anyway. And if Black people really understood that, I don't care what you say about Allison, I'm going to vote for her anyway, right?
Sure.
And you have this whole mass of people that are just making that statement. I'm going to vote for you no matter what, we're going to vote this way. And even if you can't do that in this special election coming up on September 9th, when you get down to 2, y'all better figure out which one and go with that person and start demonstrating your power outside of the money, your power collectively, that no matter what you say, we're behind this person. And when they get that seat, no matter what you guys say, we're behind this person. And those of you who are on those at-large seats, you need to understand that, because that's a big chunk of votes you will not get.
Absolutely.
If this person says you are not paying attention to our issues. And I think that's where our power is. We do not have the money. We cannot match the money of these lobbyists and these institutions and companies that are going to back some of these candidates and say, we're going to decide who your candidate is for you because we're going to give them X amount of money. We have to figure this out. That's all I say. So good comment.
No, and I think sometimes as a community moving forward, we might even need to hold these candidates accountable.
Absolutely.
I might not even be in disagreement with them getting their money, but they have to be able to say, I could probably do what you want, but I have to do what the community wants first.
That's right.
Can they not do that?
No, they can't, apparently, because the money. Everybody believes that the more money I have, the better the reach I have to get to as many voters as I can, to either lift myself up or tear down my opponent. If I don't have that money, I can't get on the airwaves, I can't get into the newspaper, I can't do all of these things. I can't whatever a politician needs to do. They feel they need the money. So they become beholden to whoever's going to write that big check.
And I don't know. And that's just crazy because even the perks. I was talking to someone the other day and they were saying, you'll be amazed at the perks that these politicians want. And I'm
Right.
like, Really? You're going to
Yeah.
sell the whole community out just to get tickets to be in the suites for the football game? I
Yeah,
don't
but if you think about, yeah, true, but if you think about that, they can get those perks from the folks with the money, but they're not getting anything from you.
right,
So there's no incentive there really. The way you build incentive is to come together as a block.
right,
And now you've got, no matter how much money you have, we're not changing. So you might as well do what we say rather than what they say, because you can send me stuff in the mail. I'm not going to read it. I don't care. I'm still going to vote with so and so.
right.
So that is the only way to combat the money. It's been
And look,
done.
I'm trying to say you better figure out how to do both because what we're going to do, and we're not going to be pressured in not talking about it.
Mhm.
Um, because you get a lot of pushbacks. Oh, he's a yes, and we could respect him, but no, he didn't do enough. I'm not going to say he didn't do anything. He didn't do enough when he was there. That he should
Which
even be on the list.
which is what the MAGA said to all of those Republicans that go up against Trump. They say no. And these are established candidates, especially
Yes,
in 2016,
yes,
established candidates. They said, no, you didn't do enough for us. And
mhm,
so they were the tail that started wagging that dog. And it was slow over time, and they stuck with him no matter what. And even when he tried to veer off,
mhm,
even when he said, I got the vaccine, get the vaccine, they said, oh no, that ain't going to work. And he stopped talking about the vaccine. He doesn't
right,
talk about any of that because his base told him that is not acceptable. We're going to
right.
stick with you, but that is not acceptable. That's where the power is.
Sure, sure.
That is the power.
And some kind of way we got to make our community understand that because just by going with Allison to the different churches,
Yeah.
these people, it's just half don't even know a special election is coming up. I blame that on the pastors. The other half is already going with Scott because
Right.
I don't
It's
know if they church have already backed them in. And I was like, do you see your condition? Do you see where you are living and what you have lived and what has improved from the time he was in office? Nothing.
yeah. There's a sense of
Actually,
hopelessness.
we've lost so much since then.
But yeah, there's a sense of hopelessness, not just in East Tampa, but I think it's in the Black community
Yeah,
altogether. And
altogether.
it's going to be really scary. But that's why we're doing the movement. Generally, it's to say to folks and hopefully talk every week why this is important, especially when the midterms come up and the next election, if we're having an election. I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
we're gonna have an election. You might not have a presidential election, but we're gonna be voting for people, our governors and all of these things.
I
And
know.
and we gotta get this right.
Yeah, but I truly believe technology is taking over, and we need to reckon with how are we going to make sure that these tech giants who have figured out how to manipulate machines
Yes.
without any detection, That's possible, and that's a possibility, a real possibility. In the meantime, if if all of us vote and Tampa comes up with the city of Tampa, which is blue, comes up red, and only a few of us vote, we know that's a problem. So we just have to figure
And
out.
so look, the Democrats already know because when Trump lost, the Republicans went in their war rooms and figured out how they were going to make him win the next time. What are
Yeah,
we doing? What are we doing to combat that? This is a possibility.
yeah. We're not because
We need to be doing something because you
okay,
hear
the
small
reason the
small
reason why
talk.
we're not the reason why we're not is that Republicans are run by the white folks. These white guys who
Who's
just
the Democrat ran
who have,
by?
wait, who just have one goal, and that is to be in control and to make America white.
Mhm,
That is their goal. And they are the ones that are in control, and they want to protect those at the top, their money.
mhm.
On the Democrat side, you got black people, and you got two different kind of black people that are kind of at war with each other unnecessarily. And you got Indian people, you got all kinds of Indians, and then you got Asians, you got all kinds of Asians, and you got all of these groups of people. And so the people at the top have to satisfy all those groups. And we're not fighting for white supremacy. Maybe a few might be. I'm going to give you that. Maybe a few might say, you know what, I like the whole white thing. But it's a much more difficult um, charge than they have. It always has been. Um,
So
when
are you saying
MAGA,
that?
when MAGA started bucking, you notice they figured out how to now meld with MAGA. They didn't agree with MAGA. They didn't want what they wanted, but you saw how they figured out how to use that to their advantage, the people in control. That does not happen here because we all have very, very different goals about what it means to be American and what we want out of it.
So
Much more difficult.
so are you saying that the Republicans don't care about all the other ethnic groups in their
That is
race?
correct. That is correct. The more, let me say this, the more assimilated I am, the more they like me.
Mhm.
Who are we talking about? For example, Clarence Thomas, Tim Scott,
And Scott,
Byron Donalds.
and it's
They
yeah.
know they know that they get discriminated against in their faces, and
Mhm.
they pretend like everything is good because of the rewards that they get for being adjacent. But they never will be accepted, but they are accepted enough because now they can point to say, they being the Republicans, see, we're not racist.
So
But
let me flip this for you.
okay.
Are you saying that that black Democrats don't get discriminated against
Of course, I
in
am not saying that.
under the Democratic Party? Are you saying that Nancy Pelosi have kept black people in their positions? Have you seen that Jasmine Crockett, who should have got the House position, and under the Democratic Party, who's going out there making noise for the Democrat? Are you saying that that isn't happening in the Democratic Party?
You ready for my answer?
I'm ready for your answer because it's happening
I'm
on both sides.
I'm saying,
Negroes ain't, but they could think they are, but we're
mhm.
not.
Yeah, I'm saying, and it's one of the reasons that I left the Democratic Party.
Absolutely.
Um,
Me too.
I'm saying that on a continuum of, I am assimilated completely. I am not assimilated at all. And I
Mhm.
can, and then there's the middle, that I'm somewhere in the middle. We're all somewhere on that line. And here in the middle, around the middle point, you will see, and you're going to see some blue dots on the assimilated side. You're going to see that, but they may not be as far as Byron Donalds and those, so they won't quite get as close to at least touching the ring. They will never really remember. They thought they were going to get in the cabinet. They didn't get in the cabinet, and the one that did get in the cabinet, well, who was pretty darn close.
And the fact of the matter is, we kept telling those idiots it wasn't going to happen.
Right, but what I'm saying is, yeah, you got some people on the Democrat side that are very much into the whole white supremacy way of thinking. In fact, I have friends that have some inclination of, I kind of like being in control or being the preferred one. I don't want to lose what I have. And if these Black people get to, so that's what we're up against. We just need to be honest about it. So what I'm saying is move out of both parties and establish Black independence, become an independent, establish Black independence, and then you can negotiate, because we have to begin negotiating from a position of power. And right now we have absolutely no power. Best example that I see, Shedeur Sanders. I follow him because, he did make the 53 cut, but the reason he brings value to the team because he's the only one selling jerseys, but he was smart enough to endure himself to the fans, and they are watching to see what they do. But the NFL works pretty much like America KKK works.
Absolutely.
The NFL sees that 70% of Black football players as slave labor that makes them rich. And the fact that Shedeur is coming in, the Sanders family, and going to try to take some of their money, some of their riches, because he hasn't even played a game, and he's got $30 million contract with Nike, and he's got $14 million off jersey sales. He hasn't even played a game.
Well, did you hear that? I don't know, this broke Saturday night or maybe Sunday, that they dropped him. They released him or something.
No, they didn't release him. They released Shiloh.
Oh, his brother. Yes.
They released Shiloh, and Shiloh is with Pittsburgh now.
Oh, okay. I'm so behind. I don't do football. But I kept saying that we should boycott now Shiloh was with the Bucks, right?
Shiloh was set up. This is my opinion.
Of course, I say too. But he was with the Bucks, right?
Yeah.
So I say, you know how many people I know go to these Bucks games who pay, have season pass? Look, guys, let's step away for a year.
Don't even say it. Don't even say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. That is not going to happen. That is not going to happen.
That's our problem.
Yeah. I was going to say that is not going to happen. We're not going to stand on business or stand on principle and support what I believe is showing itself as an example for us to not try to decrease ourselves so that they feel better. Right. And I think that's
or to say you're not going to mistreat us or mishandle us.
Correct. No. So they set up Shiloh. Shiloh then, and somebody said this today on one of the podcasts. They said, it seems like there was a secret deal between the Bills and the Bucks and the Bills to have one of the players really push him to his limit. And then Shiloh, of course, swung. I heard that something was waived, the penalty. I'm calling it a penalty, but I don't do football either. But I do like to watch how the country is moving. And right now, the best example of that is what's happening in Cleveland and with the Bucks. So Shiloh actually, he is landing on his feet, and they are going to treat him better. But I think the Bucks
are they going to treat him better? And why can't we boycott?
Well, that's true. That's true.
We're doing it for Target.
I don't know if they're going to treat him better, because the NFL, I think, is colluding against his family, because his family has come in, and the family is doing what I think happens with reparations. Mm-hmm. it's taking money that is rightfully theirs, but it's taking it away from the people who have pretty much taken our money for over 400 years, taken our value and pretty
They can't
much
misuse him.
banked
They
on
can't
it.
take advantage of him. They can't do all this. And look, we
And
should
that
say
changes the
we should say
game.
to them that you have to move on, or we will destroy the NFL.
That is really, he's got too much power. Remember, did you see that Malcolm X movie when he
Yes,
was outside and and the
and that's
policeman
why
looked
they had
at
to
him
kill
and
him.
said, "That man, that he has too
Yeah,
much power." That
yeah.
is what I'm seeing here, and the fact that Shador has the temperament that he has, but he is very he's not moved. He's immovable. He's not moving off of it. He's
Hmm.
making money. He knows what he's doing. He today in the practice, he was obviously performing better than Dylan Gabriel and Flacco. But you know, it's the story of the black man. You have to perform not just 2 times, 3 times, 4 times better than they before they consider you their equal. And we're seeing it played out, so don't miss it.
Hmm.
That's what we're up against.
Hmm.
In the Democratic Party,
In America.
we have to move, and we have to move together so that we can talk to the Democrats and say, we have values that we both agree on, but here's something that we need you to incorporate into your platform. And if you do that, or as you do that, we will vote with you. If you do not, then you don't have enough votes to get over the finish line. And that's that. And we already know that the current trajectory is that black people will lose down the line, a lot more
A
than
lot.
we're already losing. So it can't get any worse in terms of what the prognosis is for what's happening in this country.
Right.
So start now. And the thing about it, last thing, the thing about it is race is what is the major thing. But when those rich, wealthy white people don't have to hide anymore behind race to use those white folks, and it's already happening, white people are amazed they're getting treated like black folks. A lot of the white people are like amazed. What? You're stopping me? Why are you stopping me? Or they're starting to get the treatment, and it's going to be more about class at
Sure.
some point and
Sure.
less about race.
Hmm.
And they're not going to have to pretend anymore that skin color is the currency. The currency will be how much is in your bank account. So,
But at at that, we still lose, I believe.
oh, we're definitely going to lose, but I think you're going to see a lot of poor white people
Yes.
that are going to not be able to hide the way they are hiding right now. So,
Sure.
and there's 17 million of those, and there's only 8.5 million poor blacks. I always like to get that in there because people just don't seem to understand that they're hurting themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, black independence, guys, it's not about left or right. It just isn't. It's
It
not
isn't.
about, you know,
It isn't.
Democrat or Republican. It's really about survival, and it's about ownership and power. That's the game they're playing. It's the game that we need to start playing as well.
It
So
is. It is a game that we need to play, and we cannot have our leaders in the Black Caucus who would tell us, "Do not separate." We
yeah,
have to separate,
yeah,
and the time is now to do it, for we could be prepared for 2026. We
right,
we
right.
we have to do it because the Democratic Party, and I believe at one point it did maybe um, serve us well until it isn't serving us well anymore. We just have to realize it's not serving. Only idiots would stay somewhere that we know isn't serving us, and it's
So,
not serving us.
so you make a good point because the Republican Party served us well
At one point, yeah.
after the Civil War and after we got the right to vote. The Republican Party served us well
Hmm.
because that was the party of Lincoln.
Yeah.
But around 1965, during the 10 years in the 60s, the Republican Party no longer served us well,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
Because the Dixiecrats went over
Right.
into the Republican
Yeah.
Party,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
so had sense enough, to get out of the Republican Party and into the Democratic Party. And that's where we've been since. So, and they have served us well for that time.
Sure.
But
And
2025, they're not serving us well. So what's our next move?
who made this statement? And I don't know if it's a slogan or statement. We have to teach people how to treat us.
Yes.
Was that
I don't
my
know who made it.
Angelo or somebody?
Yeah, I don't know who made it, but it's a very true statement.
Yeah, and we just have to teach them
Yes.
how to treat us with respect, as the respect we are giving them. You're
Yeah.
nobody more respected than I am.
That is very, very true. So if they're going to spend their time policing words, then we need to be policing results, folks. And the only way that we can actually do that is to step aside as a group and then go back in, talk to them and say, and here's what our needs are. And we need to, they're going to take our words. Republicans are good at that. You know, the word woke. They took the word woke and they demonized it. You know, CRT. They took the words, the letter CRT, and they demonized that. So just don't pay attention to it. You gotta be clear on what it is you're asking for.
Right.
What have you actually delivered? Here's what we need you to deliver if you want us to be on your side, to vote with you. So I don't know.
So look, Facebook, join us. And if you agree with us, we're asking that you either go online, change parties from the Democratic Party to independent only, not the MPAs.
And you got to write in independent. This says the MPA.
Oh, it says MPA, you got to write in independent? Okay.
You got to write in independent, and it will come back independent. If you put MPA, it'll come back NPA. So you want to write independent.
Maybe Sunday we need to have a blank.
Oh yeah, I can do that because Ms. Patterson just filled it out today, and I'm just going to drop it off at the DMV when I go out.
And it takes a little work, which they think, and we have to be able to let them know anything. Our ancestors have survived so much. Anything you throw at us, dodging. You can't hit us. You can't hit us.
Yeah.
You're not going to knock us down. And it is time to organize, fight back, and do not let these people think we're automatically going to continue to vote blue no matter what.
That's right.
And don't ask them for anything. As I go to all these debates, Jeanette, everybody's telling us what they're going to do, what they platform. Half of them don't even know what they can do. That's the crazy. They don't even know the qualifications or what you are entitled to do or what you're supposed to do as a city council person. It's just the craziest thing. Then we have one young lady think that she should get it because she's a legacy, and she doesn't have a clue.
Yeah,
not a clue.
But we need a clue. We need to decide.
We got to have a clue.
Who out there will fight for us, right?
Yes. And hold the line. We just need someone to hold the line for the next,
and hold the line.
15, 18 months. Hold the line, because apparently something is getting ready to come down if they're investing this much money into this special election, that they want a certain person in that seat, that they believe that they will be able to control. And I don't want to call them a puppet, but I don't know. Close us out.
Folks, to join, Mona's already said, hey, this is how you join. You go and download the form, or you can go to the supervisor of election, fill out the form, and if you do download it, you can take it to your nearest DMV. I happen to have gone to a forum and supervisor of election was there, and bang, I could do it right on the spot. So take the time to do it. It's not as easy as it used to be, but it is doable. Everything takes some work. Last thing I want to say, though, is we're on Facebook. Find us on Facebook right now. Find us on Facebook, even if you can't find me right now, but take some time to do that. But you can subscribe to us on YouTube. We are Black Independent, not Black Independent. It's We Are Black Independence with an S. We're trying to build our subscribers, so we need you to join us. Even if you don't, even if you're still a Democrat, join the conversation. So as we build, we'll get better at our delivery, and we're starting a movement.
And for the most part, we're going to stay Democrats as well. Now, as I do, used to do, I'll say used to do, vote for a Republican that I felt that aligned with what I wanted. But what we have to realize, mostly all of the judges, and we're going to get through that when we get over this election, about these judges. Because we have a whole team out doing courtroom watching, and we're going to have to dive into this organization, the Federalists. Have you heard? Do you know what that is?
Yep, the Federalists. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And
so
we vote not knowing that these people are part of that organization.
It's
and
one of the reasons why.
And what they think about us, and what they think about the law, and how they use that to just.
Yeah, they've taken over the courts.
All injustice. Yes.
Yeah, they have taken over the courts at all levels. So we really have to be vigilant.
And so now we're going to have to really look in these judges' background, and we can't normally vote for our dismays.
Yeah,
because that's what we've been doing. Well, we didn't know, but we're gonna find out, particularly the judges here in Tampa.
Yeah, and you can. I always research because you cannot easily find their party affiliation, but you go into like Baltopedia and you look at who appointed them.
Right.
And
the fact of the matter is, if they're a part of it, either present or past, it has to be an automatic no.
Yeah.
It just has to be.
I agree with you. So on the present or past, I get you on that, because we're going to talk a little bit too about the governor's race at some point. So so that's something we're going to talk about. But folks, Democrats right now are focused on word salad, word salad, word salad. So they're worried about words, but we're worried about lives, Black lives. And that's why Black independence is the future. I'm signing out.
Good night, Facebook.
You bet. Let's get I love that we had. Oh,
we're still on.
I see that. I see. Someday. Why is that?
I cannot
okay.
my end.